All right, guys. I want to thank you for coming in today and checking out this video. My name is Anthony Trotta. I'm the special teams coordinator at John Carroll University, located in Northeast Ohio, directly outside Cleveland. We play in the OAC, a very competitive conference every year. We're really excited about this upcoming season and looking forward to getting back to football as usual here. So today we're going to be talking about Punt Block at John Carroll. As you can see, my contact information is there. My email is atrotta@jcu.edu, and my Twitter is available as well. My cell phone will be on the last slide of the presentation. So at the end, feel free to contact me if you want to talk about football, if you want to talk about Punt Block, special teams, whatever it may be. I'm always willing to talk ball. Any chance we get as football coaches to sit down and talk and learn from each other is a great opportunity. So thank you again for tuning in, and thank you to Coach Bandstra for putting this together. I think this is a really great resource for all coaches out there to be able to just listen to other people talk about their program and what they do. If you can learn something from this presentation today, just one thing, then I'll be happy with the end result, because that's always the goal, is to learn from each other. So thank you again for tuning in, and any questions, feel free to contact me. We're going to get rolling here. All right, so quick overview of what we're going to talk about is today we'll be going over our philosophy. So the philosophy at John Carroll for our special teams, or our special forces unit as a whole, as well as our philosophy for our Punt Block unit. We'll talk about our scheme, what we call our big three and why that's important, our rules of engagement, all right, our game plan, how we game plan every week, our drill work for that specific, for this specific unit, and then our practice and game film. So our special forces philosophy, we use the United States military. Again, we call it special forces, not special teams. All right, so our special forces, the United States military teaches us about leadership, accountability, and teamwork. And to us at John Carroll, those are the most important attributes of a special forces player. You have to be a leader. Leaders play on special teams and treated as a super important portion of the game. You have to be accountable, and then you have to be willing to do what you need to do to help your team. And the most accountable, well-trained, and productive assets to an organization are the elite. So we talk about being an elite special forces member here at John Carroll. Just like everybody else, our special forces philosophy is to control the field position of a game, whether it's through blocking a punt, returning one for a touchdown, pinning somebody deep when we punt, anything like that. We want to control the field position. And then our biggest value on special forces, again, is to have starters play. And then we use the one shot, one kill mentality. So there is no second down on special teams. We go out there every time and know that we get one opportunity. All the practice and all the preparation from that week, all the film for special teams, you get one shot to do your job. We need to make it that one kill shot and execute our job. So that's our overview of our special forces as a whole. Now we talk about Punt Block philosophy. Notice I'm going to call it Punt Block a lot in this presentation. The reason we do that is, our block, right? We call it Punt Block, not punt return, because we view it as an opportunity. One, an opportunity to create field position, and an opportunity to create momentum. And then, the old adage, field position plus momentum equals points for your football team. So we'll call it the Punt Block unit just because it's a mentality. We want to always have that attacking mentality. We want to get after it. And then we're going to use our block schemes to set up our return on every given week. Again, this is a defensive snap for us, and we treat it as a defensive snap. Most of the players on the unit are defensive players for our football team. So obviously the first goal is to secure possession, but then we don't want to force the defense to go back on the field to do a job that they've already done. The defense did their job. They stopped them on third down, forced the punt situation. Now we need to do our job and treat this as another defensive snap and not force us to do something we've already done on that possession. All right, so again, I already touched on it a little bit, but we're an attacking scheme for our block unit. We have an attacking scheme. Like I said, block mentality. We're going to get after it. We're going to use our blocks to set up our returns. And then our mentality is we want to win early through physicality. So win the down early through physicality. We're going to be we're going to be flexible with our scheme. You're going to see guys moving around in some clips. We started transitioning at the end of last year, and we're going to it full time this year with guys not in 3-point stances. So the reason we do that is, we don't want you to have to do something you don't do. And I'll touch on that a little bit later in the presentation. And then we're going to be flexible with our calls each week. So we look to have, target of 4 calls each week. 2 of those calls being a pump block and a block to set up a return that we set up in camp, and then as well as 2 specific game plan calls each week. And then we want to be simple, right? It's about the time on task. We want to be efficient with our time. We want to make our scheme simple enough that, we can execute it to the highest, to the highest ability. We don't want to spend time trying to come up with these elaborate schemes. We want to spend time on getting good at what we do. And then the old adage is about Jimmys and Joes, not the X's and O's. So, we're going to put our best 11 out there, and we're going to do what we do and be successful with that. All right, so our pump block, our big 3. So the philosophy with our big 3 is these 3 points, and to me this is really important with this unit, is we're going to have number 1, an attack, okay? Number 2, engage. Number 3, right, is finish, okay? So our attack, our engage, and our finish. Those are 3 qualities and 3 sections of the punt return that we can evaluate. So we can either say, hey, we had a breakdown in our engage phase, we had a breakdown in our finish phase, we had a breakdown in our attack phase, and then we can specifically drill those 3 things. So for us, we're going to identify with every special forces unit those big 3 things that we're looking for, those big 3 coaching points where we can drill and evaluate at the same time. And then we'll get into that right here. So this is to set up the return. Obviously, if you're looking at it, we want that first 5 yards after the line of scrimmage to about 10 yards down the field to be that attack portion for us here. All right, this is the attack range, and we'll break each specific down in a second. You have your engage phase where we're talking about that hip and rattle, and then our finish phase. So we have specific areas and specific coaches to look at each phase of the big 3 and break it down where we're deciding, hey, are we efficient in this area? All right, and then here's our big 3 for when we're blocking the kick, when we're going after it, right? So our attack, our engage, and our finish. Again, 3 things. We relate them to both the block and then when we block return. Okay, so now let's go over our rules of engagement. And each unit, again, will have a rules of engagement where we talk about how we're going to, either how we're going to play a block, how we're going to block somebody, how we are going to engage with somebody in an opposite colored jersey. So we're talking hairline below chin, thumbs up, and elbows in. 3 easy, specific coaching points that our guys know, hey, when we engage with somebody, it's got to be hairline below the chin. We've got to have our thumbs up. We've got to have our elbows in, tucked against our rib cage there. So stance, right? Let's talk about our 2-point stance here. Again, we transitioned to this, and you can see it in the picture here at the end of the season last year, and we're going to continue it. In this picture, right, we're looking to have our inside foot up, credit card alignment, so we want to be right on the football. We want to hide our belly bump. We don't want to have that high chest. And then we want to focus with our get off on that no fall step, and you'll see that in our drill work later. Our movement key, right, is the back tip of the football, and that's how we're going to get our clean get off. So the reason we're in 2-point stances, just so everybody can pick up on it, is now every single one of these defenders is within the box at the line of scrimmage, right? Everybody here in this picture has to be accounted for in the blocking scheme, right? If you're, if you're coaching this up and you're looking at this from a block standpoint, you have to decide, hey, who of these guys is going to go? Who of them is going to drop off? We're very flexible with what we can do by putting our guys in 2-point stances, as far as having them being accounted for in the blocking scheme, as well as you have to look at it from a standpoint of most of the guys on this unit are linebackers, defensive backs, guys that can move. All right. Not a lot of defensive linemen are on the punt return unit. We want guys to be comfortable with what they're doing. I'm not going to ask a guy to get down in a 3-point stance if he doesn't get down in a 3-point stance on any other snap during the football game. To me, that's idiotic to ask somebody to do that. I want him to be comfortable on his feet and be able to get a good get off. All right. Be able to engage and then be able to finish. And those are the big three for this unit. All right, so let's talk about, our attack. Again, part of the big three, okay, this is our attack for that return. All right, so we're looking at shock and mirror. All right, the thought process there is we want to get our work done early. So when we shock, again, we want to have those, think of the rules of engagement. Hairline below chin, thumbs up, elbows in. All right, we want to shock that guy. Then we want to mirror his quads. All right, mirror his quads. All right, move our feet, keep our feet active, and then get our work done early. A good shock and a good attack is going to help us with our next phases on this unit. All right, we always want to strike on the rise, low eyes, low hands, mirror the quads, and then we want to disrupt his momentum. And that, again, goes back to, hey, let's shock him and then be ready to mirror him. And then you look at it, we want to be on the line of scrimmage as long as possible with this guy. If we're doing a really good job with our shock and our mirror and our rules of engagement, we're going to be on the line of scrimmage as long as possible. So now our next phase of the big three is engage. So we talk about hip and rattle within the engage phase of the return. So we want to be in phase after that initial 5 yards, and then, to us, in phase is in the hip pocket of your man. That's our coaching point for it. We always want to be in that hip pocket. So I can go out there and I can say, hey, we got to just be in our hip pocket. Again, those little cue words are helping us coach our guys up on this unit. And then we want to rattle him with the short 6-inch punches. And those punches are at the hip. All right, they're from your hip to his hip. We want to keep those low punches. We want to just be a nuisance to him on the way down the field. So we're going to rattle him with those little 6-inch punches on the way down the field. And then we're going to stay low. All right, so he can never cross our face. Our goal is to slow them down, widen their coverage, and create space for our returner during this engage phase with our hip and rattle technique. Okay, and then our finish. So our 3 finishes when we're setting up that return is in front of the man, we're going to sit and fit. So again, rules of engagement, we want to have that hairline below the chin, sit and fit. All right, elbows in, thumbs up. Okay, if we're parallel with him, right, if we're even with him, we want to arm bar, so create some space, and then be able to sit and fit with your back to the returner. Okay, if we're behind our man on the way down the field, we want to just basically rip through, and we'll get some good clips of that, later in the presentation. But we just want to rip through, all right, putting your back to your man and kind of just screening him by, putting your body in front of him and the returner at that time. And then the big thing here, guys, can't stress this enough. Time equals yards. Time equals yards all the time. So give the returner time, all right, by getting your work done early at the line of scrimmage, being efficient with your hip and rattle, creating space, and then nailing your finish, whether you're using these three, when you're using these 3 finish techniques. All right, so now let's talk about our big 3 for when we're going after the kick, right? And like I said, we always go after the kick, but when we have that full sellout block mentality, we're thinking 1, 2, 3, take all the ground that belongs to me. We're getting after it. I want to get as much ground, gain as much ground in my first 3 steps, okay? So we're going to explode out of our stance. We're going to stay low in our charge and then get those first 3 steps vertical before we get skinny. And that's the key, guys. 1, 2, 3, take all the ground that belongs to me. I got to get vertical in my first 3 steps, and then I'm going to get skinny after that. We're going to rip versus pressure. All right, rip versus pressure. And then we're going to stay tight to that blocker when we rip. The key is to win with speed in this attack phase. All right, win with speed. Now we talk about our engage when we're going after the kick. So for our guys that are going after the kick, all right, 4 or 5, we're going to dip and drive. So we have that bend and rip, all right, bend and rip mentality. And then just, to continue with that little thought process is 4 or 5, dip and drive. So we want to bend only after we've beaten the shoulder of our man. And that's the key here, guys. Bend only after you've beaten the shoulder of your man. You can't start to bend early because then he's just going to wash you. All right, we got to be able to bend after we've beaten his shoulder. Okay, redirect to the punter's kick foot. Come across now this is important, and you'll see clips of it later. We want to come across the punter's foot when attacking from the outside. So across his foot when we're attacking from the outside. When we're coming from the middle, okay, we want to stay to the side of the punter. Again, alleviates that running into the kicker. Don't put the defense back on the field to do a job they've already done and stop him. And then obviously we want to stay low in this phase. All right, and then our finish. So our finish, when we're blocking it, for our guys that are blocking it, or knowing the block point is crucial. All right, we have to know where the block point is. It's different for every team. It's different for every punter. It's different for every situation, every type of punt that you see out there. So that's key in getting your guys to understand the block point during the week and then drilling that block point over and over again, that we want to come flat at the block point. All right, it's better to be short than long. Okay, and then never pass the block point. So if you pass it, make sure you're pulling off again. Just goes back to, we're not putting the defense back on the field to do a job they've already done. Okay, and then we want to have our eyes on the punter's kicking foot, not the ball. I can't stress that point enough. Eyes on the punter's kicking foot, not the ball. Take the ball off his foot. Okay, take the ball off his foot. Find the foot. You're never going to miss the block. All right, and then run through the block point, take the ball off his foot. So in this picture, this is a picture we use when we're installing it with the guys of, hey, this is where the block point is. So on their scouting report each week, we're going to show them a picture of the team's unit that we're playing, and we're going to highlight the blocks point. So in this specific unit, the block point's at 11 yards for this team that we're playing in this picture. All right, and we're going to make sure it's repeated over and over again. 11 yards is the block point, 11 yards is the block point, 11 yards is the block point. So our guys have to understand that. It has to be repped throughout the week. All right, and then we have to be able to successfully block that kick. It's crucial that we know right where it is and when we have to get there and how we have to get there. All right, so how do we game plan it? Here at John Carroll, so I am the special teams coordinator, but we have unit leaders. All right, so other guys on our coaching staff are our unit leaders. So we're not going to do this and put this all on, I'm not going to just look at it myself. We want to get as many eyes on the film as possible. So myself and Coach Voss is our unit leader, our defensive line coach. He's our unit leader for our punt return. He's going to watch the film. I'm going to watch the film. And we're going to separately get our notes for what we think for our plan of attack. All right. And then on Monday, we're going to come together. Okay. And we're going to meet as a unit leader and the special teams coordinator to discuss our plan and then prepare our scouting report. What is the block point? What do we see? What are the weaknesses? How are we going to attack what they're putting on film? How are we going to attack? What is going to be our plan? And that's a cooperative environment for us. And then we're going to present it to the whole staff. I think the key on Sunday is you get your own thoughts together. On Monday, we're going to collaborate together, and then we're going to share that plan with the whole staff. The whole staff has to know the plan for that week, because the guys who are running the scout book have to understand what the plan is. The guys that are, responsible for watching each little position, on game day have to understand what the plan is for that week and how we're going to attack. And I can't stress that enough. On Tuesday, obviously Monday there's no practice. Tuesday we'll install the game plan with the players in our special teams meeting, so they know the plan of attack and they'll get the special team scouting report. On Wednesday and Thursday, obviously we'll have practice time where we drill and rep special forces and install it on the field. And then we'll review that practice film with the players. They'll get the huddle corrections. We use huddle to our advantage here, where we're sending those corrections to those guys so they can specifically see on every play of what's going on and what the specific coaching points are. And then on Friday, obviously, we have our substitution drill with our special situations, and then we'll have our post-practice review of opponent special teams cut up. So just a cut up of, hey, this is what we're looking for on their punt unit. Again, showing the block point to these guys every time. So this is an example. I try to include an example of our scouting report. So this is for the Red Raiders, just a made up opponent here. But basically every week we want our guys to know how many punts he had, what were the average of the punts, how long was his longest, how many punts he had inside the 20, how many he forced fair catch, how many touchbacks. So the specifics of the punter and his punts, right? And then we'll talk about the scheme and personnel notes. So are they a shield punt? Are they a pro punt? Are they a rugby punt? Okay. Where does the punter align? Where is the block spot? All right, where's that block point? And then, specific notes. So for this team, for this specific, the Red Raiders here, the punter wants to go to his right or left. They will rugby or pooch punt in certain situations. And then they had no punts blocked on the year, and they showed 2 rugby right kicks. So we'll have that. And then again, the base shield look, the specific look for them with the numbers. So when we talk about each guy and the specifics of who plays what position, we'll break them down individually in this section right at the bottom of our scouting report. And then we want to have our operation times. I think it's critical for us as coaches to be able to understand the operation times, but the more you can get the players to understand it, I think the better off you are when you're being successful on Punt Block. So our weekly schedule of how we do special teams here: on Tuesday, we have about 20 minutes where we'll do PAT field goal indie. We'll do a specific special forces indie. So whatever it may be for that week, it could be any of our units, it could be any of our techniques. We just want to drill something in an indie period. Then we'll have our punt in a team session, our Punt Block in a team session as well. On Wednesday, we'll break it down for 20 minutes again, where we'll do punt indie, kickoff coverage team, kickoff return team, and then PAT field goal team session. On Thursday, that's a day for us to get all our special teams completely installed, completely, gone over the tracks, and you'll see that in some film in a little bit of what we're going to do. And that's going to be about 25 minutes practice-wise for us. And then on Friday, we're going to have our substitution drill again in our special situations where, you're just locking everything up, making sure everybody's good to go on their assignment, who's in what positions, all our special situations, and we take care of that on Friday. So now we're getting into the, kind of meat and potatoes of the, we had our appetizer of what we do and who we are, but, I think this is the most important part of how we drill it. So we have our mirror drill, our get off drill, our block latch drill, our finish drill, and then our ball me man drill. And I'm going to go into each of those when we kind of watch some film here in a minute. So we'll take our time at practice to specifically drill the techniques. We'll break down the techniques in those big 3 phases, and we'll drill them with each of these drills, and then we'll put it all together for the ball me man drill. So here's our mirror drill. big coaching point with our mirror drill is we want to have his eyes on the thighs, okay, and we want to mirror the quads. We want to stay low, all right, in this situation, normal rules of engagement. But as you can see, our guy here has got his hands behind his back on the mirror side, all right. We want to have our hands behind his back because he's going to win this drill with his feet and his eyes. So his eyes on the thighs and quick feet. All right, that hot foot pattern, you'll see a little bit. The better off you are picking up the feet. All right, nice and quick, in and out. We want to just mirror him, eyes on the thighs. All right, not using anything. We want to play within our frame, and we want to be good to go on this. So you see some examples here of the mirror drill. Easy to set up, easy to do. And the key is we're doing these in a circuit. So we're doing these all at the same time, and we're circuiting through them. That's kind of, the big coaching point here is we got our punters. You can see punting in the background, snapper snapping, and then we're doing the finish drill at the same time. So if we, take a look at it, a really good rep here. I like his foot. I like his feet. Don't really love the base there. I think we're a little bit wide on the base. Just narrow his base a little bit. But again, coaching points on his eyes and his feet. Are we winning this drill with our eyes and our feet? So now this is how we set up our get off drill. Again, coaching point for the get off drill. 1, 2, 3, take all the ground that belongs to me. 4, 5, we're thinking dip and drive. So this is our get off. All right. We want to coach them up on these first 3 steps before this pop up. We're taking all the ground that belongs to me. I got to get to 5 yards, all right, within 3 steps, okay? Then we're going to dip and drive, all right? We're going to rip against pressure of the bag, and then we're going to finish flat, all right? You'll see the guys finishing flat across the block point here. And then, obviously, you see guys starting in stance, okay? Like I said, we transitioned at the end of the season last year into that where we're starting out of a stance. We're in those 2-point stances, and we're going to continue that this year. You'll see some of these guys' stances, they just don't look comfortable in a stance. Again, we talked about that earlier as far as why we transitioned to that here. So you see that. All right. I'd like to see this guy in the middle. That's a good rip here. But I don't need him to throw that through. I want him to rip and reach right there and continue on his track so he can come flat across the foot. All right, I think this rep here at the bottom is pretty good. So we're evaluating. We want this film period for us. We're always evaluating to see who's going to move and on the depth chart and who's going to be in a position for us on Saturdays to be able to go block a kick. And you can see, some of this, guys, with any kind of drill tape, some of it's good drill tape, some of it's, I'd like to see a little bit better reps. We want to come more flat at the block point here. I want to continue on that trajectory to come flat on the block point. All right, come flat and take that ball right off his foot. Okay. Then you can see we're you're going to be able to go left and right with this. You're not going to have to move the kids. The kids are going to stay where they're at in this picture. All you're doing is moving your coaches, all right, or your helpers, whoever you have as the punter, to the opposite side, and you can drill both sides of this. Easy drill for us to get set up and to get worked up with the pop-ups. So I included this one from a previous year. This is including, the ball on the stick in there. We want to be able to get that visual key for those guys. And then you're drilling where you have your interior guys coming at a little bit different angle and your exterior guys at a different angle. So different ways to mix up the drill, but you're getting the same effect. We want to take all the ground that belongs to me. All right. We want to get off the football. We want to dip and drive and the specific coaching points on the drill. Good clip for us. All right, so our next drill we're going to talk about our 6-point punch drill. With this, we're just working on that initial engage. So the rules of engagement, all right, that's the key here. We want to have our hairline below the chin, All right, our elbows in and our thumbs up all the time. That's how we engage with guys. So we're just working simple 6-point punch here. We're getting the hips activated. We're working on that punch, that initial punch. We like to do everything in threes. For some reason, as football coaches, 3 is the magic number on what we feel guys can get good reps at. So we're going to go 3 and then switch, work guys through the reps. We want to see those specific coaching points for how we're going to strike, all right, and what we're going to do every time. And you can see it, again, want to activate those hips. We want to be pushing those hips forward and then striking, always strike on the rise. Always have those, hands above our eyes, strike on the rise on that. All right, so this is our block latch. We'll set this up. We have one guy in a stance, okay? As the punt look, we have our punter back here, okay? And we have our 2 defenders. So as a coach, you're going to stand behind or to the side and set this up where the guy blocking is going to set up. He's either going to block one way or the other way. These guys both think, all right, I'm attacking. I'm 1, 2, 3, taking all the ground that belongs to me. All right, and then whoever's engaged becomes your hip and rattle technique. If you're not engaged, you're working your finish technique, and you'll see it here in a second. So the blocker chooses to go to his right here, right? Now we become 43 becomes our hip and rattle. All right, we want to stay at the line of scrimmage, mirror the quads. It's a really good job. And now our other guy, all right, is working his block technique. So this is kind of how you're putting it all together. Good drill for us to work the attack, engage, and finish of this drill. And man, I love that. You're seeing guys compete, guys working. All right, you want that guy on the punt team to fight as hard as he can to get downfield. He's not running 30 yards downfield. He's running 5 yards downfield. And we want that guy who's engaged to work his techniques, keep him on the line of scrimmage as much as possible here. All right, so you see it goes to the right again here. So now 85 becomes in. Now he loses him, but I love this clip because he stays working, right? He loses him. He's working back to get that hip and rattle. I just don't like how he gets there at the end. We want to see him finish a different way there, but good clip, good drill. We really like it. Focusing on winning at the line of scrimmage first. Both guys are attacking, and this goes right to our, scheme mentality of that attack. Both these guys right now think they're going to block the kick, right? And this guy is determining who becomes taking the track to block it and who is now engaged in working that hip and rattle technique. I think that's what's really important with this drill. And like I said, our guys love it. It's a compete drill. We got guys working and we're constantly evaluating. So 28's working as hard as he can to stay in front. All right, I think he's a little bit high here. His hands get outside. Not a great rep, but he's working. And that's what we want to see. We want to see guys working on this drill. All right, and then the proper angles to finish in the back. A little delay on the film there, guys. Sorry about that. But I think there's a really good rep from 6 here. Love his feet. Keep moving. Stay with him, right? Stay with him. I want to see him come out of his stance a little bit more. Again, we wouldn't do this drill when we do this drill this season. We're not going to be in those 3-point stances. We're going to be in our 2-point stances. But I'd like to see him attack a little bit more. I think he's a little bit passive. But again, that's a great job keeping the feet in front. And we're constantly looking to see that. All right. This is our finish drill now. So we're talking about our 3 finishes. So if we're in front, again, that sit and fit finish. Okay, if we're even, we want to arm bar, create space to sit and fit. All right, and then if we're behind, we're going to rip through. So right here, why we like this drill so much is you can control a lot of the variables as far as you can control who's in front, who's even, who's behind by the starting position, by the tempo of the drill. You can control all those specific things so you're making sure you're getting quality reps. All right, so right now, we're working that even. All right, so we're seeing those guys arm bar, slow it down a little bit, seeing those guys arm bar to create that space, and then they're looking to sit and fit, and that's a really good rep by 15 at the top, really good rep at the bottom here. I love this rep. These guys are really working to put their body in a position to sit and fit and put their back to the returner when they're even here. Really good rep for us, really good teach tape there of what it's supposed to look like when you're even. All right, so now this guy on the bottom here is behind. I'd like to see him rip through. The tempo of the drill was we were working on that even. All right, so even arm bar, sit and fit with your back behind. But I'd like to see that guy kind of rip through because he's a little bit behind him. You never want to risk that block in the back. Okay, time equals yards. Let's just rip through, put our body in between the returner and our man that we're blocking on that finish there. Working on the specific coaching points. See, this I included this one here. We don't want this guy to ever get that hand on the back. You don't want to leave it up to referee judgment there. We just want to be able to, we're behind him. All right, far enough. We're not even. Let's just rip through. All right, rip through, get our body in between him and the returner on that look there. All right, and then at the bottom here, another really good clip of showing we're going to get even with this guy. Arm bar, sit, and finish there. It's a good rep. All right, again, working the even. Good job. I'd like to see more of an arm bar to get yourself in there, but these guys both do a good job of coming back now and positioning on that sit and fit. Okay, so our ball me man drill is a drill our guys really love. It's a compete drill for us where we kind of put everything together. So we set it up across the field where we have our guys on our block, on our block unit, and we have our guys working on our punt unit here, working the release. So you're getting guys competing all over the place. What we're working on with this drill, right, is we're working on attacking. We should be hip mirroring the thighs right at the line of scrimmage. All right, engaged, hip and rattle, and then the finish at the end of it. So where we're working, where our guys out, we're not part of the block scheme right now. We're working the return phase of this unit. I love this rep from the bottom here. Does a really good job with his feet. Really good job with his feet. Okay, I'd like to see him attack more. I'd like to see both guys attack more. But, this is the one thing. You got to coach the guys up to, hey, we're still attacking on this drill. When you get to that compete phase, sometimes guys don't want to miss on the attack. This is important where you're working the attack phase as well. And then we're hip and mirror on the line of scrimmage. And then a really good job by both these guys kind of working that hip by. We'll include the punter to punt the football just to get our returners some work and get these guys tracking the football down the field. But again, really good drill for us. Down here, both guys, we kind of lose early, and then we're working, just getting our body, all right, just getting our body to rip through at the end there, okay, rip through at the end there and create a little bit of space for us to make a move if that guy decides he's not going to fair catch the football or not. Down the bottom, kind of a lost rep for us there for the guy on the return unit. Again, this is a compete drill, guys. You want guys out there competing the whole time. When you get guys out there competing, you're going to get guys winning and losing reps, but you're going to get better as a unit. All right. That I can't stress that enough. Let guys go compete. Let guys go win in this event. This guy down here, really good job early. Kind of loses him with his feet. I like to see him stay with that at the end there. All right. Clip starts a little late here, but I love this. Hip and rattle. This guy's engaged. We're getting after it. All right. I love the aggression. Love guys getting after it. Again, you want to see people go out and compete in this drill. You want to see guys get engaged, guys be able to go block. And then, again, introducing the ball, gets everybody involved in the clip on that. Really good job down the bottom here, getting engaged. We just got to be better in the finish. So if I'm evaluating that, the attack's good. All right, we're good with the hip and rattle. Now we got to finish that. And then that goes into where you're breaking down into the three phases, guys. And you're being able to talk to your guys about, hey, we were really good in this phase. We got to get a little bit better in that phase of the big three. And then we got to finish. This is an overall really good rep here by this inside guy. At the line of scrimmage, great job, mirror. All right, great job on the hip and rattle. And then on the finish, he widens him at the end. 2 really good reps there, guys. All right, now how do we practice it? So you saw how we drilled it. That's the beginning of the week. That's, how we work on the specific phases of it. But now how do we practice it? And we're not going live 11 on 11. We're not, trying to block it at practice. When we practice it, we're going to have our call. All right, we're going to have our scout against, a specific call. And then we're going to, work on our tracks and our block points. So I think the, best look of it here is from the tight where, again, we switch to the 2-point stance, guys. I can't hit on that enough. That's where we want. But we're working our tracks here. So everybody's working their specific track. All right, we're working our big three in the scheme for that specific week. All right, see it from the tight again. Another good clip gets us in it. We're working our specific tracks for that week. All right, for each call. All right, and we're getting into everybody's job on the big three. We're not going after it. All right, it's more of let's drill it to be successful in the big three. Let's drill it to work the specific techniques. When we get together in a team session to do this, we're working on our tracks. We're working on how we're going to attack our opponent. All right, the drill work, let the drill work take care of the specific points of it. We're going to focus on how are we attacking our opponent based on the look they're giving us and what tracks we're in each clip here. So again, I wanted to include that for you guys to see. You see the tempo of it. You see how we're just working the tracks. Guys are getting into their attack, engage, and their finish, right? You're not seeing a lot of the finish here because we're not going full speed. But that's how we practice it. Again, sorry for a little bit on the film there. But don't have the snap. We have the snapper moving the ball for the key. We don't even want to waste time with the snap. All right, and then we want guys to get on their specific tracks to do their job for that week during practice. So how does it translate? So over the past 2 seasons, the 18 season and the 19 season, we averaged 9.5 yards per return. Again, that goal is that 10-yard mark. We want to be able to get 1 first down for our offense when they kick us the football and we return it. All right, we block 4 punts and we return 2 for a touchdown. All right, 2 for a touchdown. So here we have an example of our game day call sheet. Just want to put that in there for you guys to see. We do it 3 deep just to make sure that we're covered in all our bases. You never know what happens throughout the game. If you have the roster size availability to be able to do that, it helps with the scout look. It helps with getting guys into positions and knowing where they are, and it gets guys competing, I think, when you add that extra layer of the depth instead of it 2 deep. Then we'll have our opponent depth, so what we saw on film from them, just so our coaches who are responsible to watch what the punt team is doing when we're on Punt Block really know what to look for and who to be out there. If there's a new number in the shield, hey, are they faking something here? What's going on? Just to keep us aligned with that. And then we'll have our specific calls. Again, you see our 4 calls for the week. And then our notes, okay, is it directional punt? All right, he's punting to our left. It's an average of 33.1 per kick, so we know where to put our returner, and then our block spot for that week is on there, right on the call sheet every time before we go out and do our roll call. All right, so some game film of it. This is clip from later in the year, and then you guys see, it gives us the flexibility. Showed you in the picture before, hammered on it again. I really believe in putting these guys in 2-point stances, putting them in an athletic position, and letting them go, making sure that you don't know who's in the block demeanor, all right, who's going after it, who's not. And this is a really good job by our guys of really working those. You saw the tracks. We've worked on the track all week at practice. This is what the result we're going to get. And we're able to block a kick and create huge momentum in a football game for us. Tough luck on the bounce. I think he might have had a scoop and score here. One of the most gnarly bounces I've seen on the football, on the turf. But take a look at it from the tight. Guys moving around, don't know where guys are in the block point. And then really good job of coming to the side of his foot and be able to block the football. All right, again, switch to the 3-point stances, guys. Switch to the 2-point stances, guys. Can't stress that enough, how important that is. But you see us here being able to move. All right, we do a really good job here, and you'll see it on the tight of working, splitting the shield, all right, and working the seams. But this is a great job, all right, getting that 10-yard goal. Guys working our techniques down the bottom. We work in our engage, all right, our hip and rattle. Boom, get our body in between him. We got guys ripping through. It's just a really good clip. And then you see the end result of being able to get in the return. And then here's part of that mentality, guys. We're working the seams there. Can't stress that enough. Work the seams of the shield. And then we do a good job of falling off to the side. All right, we're coming from the middle here, so these guys know, hey, we got to be off to one side or the other of the punter so we don't go into him, all right, and force the defense back out on the field. All right, another good job of us. You'll see it from the tight here in a second. But really good job of knowing when to bend. All right, great get off by this guy. And falling off to the side of the kicker, forcing him to not be able to get his rhythm, right? Forcing him to not be able to get in his rhythm and kind of, missing the punt, mishitting the punt in a situation where, our guy yelled poison. You see our guys, go to the near sideline, get away from it. All right, don't even want to risk anything to chance, go stand on the near sideline. All right, low snap. But again, having that mentality that I'm blocking it until I'm not. You got guys working there, force the punter to come up short. All right, don't pin us inside the 10 on that. Another good job by us. Great job by that kid Fair catching the football there, got with guys in his face. But you see it. You see that this quip is just a mentality quip. All right, and then our guy calls the poison call, our returner, and we get out of there. Okay. Here's another clip of showing us in those 2-point stances and the flexibility we have. All right, really good job by the finish. All right, I'd like to see some more hip and rattle here. A really good job working and getting that finish, putting his body in between him and the returner. I think if the returner chose to return this here, he'd have the opportunity to make something happen. And then you see guys working down on the bottom to stay in phase. We look at the tight of it here. Guys moving around, don't know who's coming, who's not coming based on the stances. All right, and then we're working to be able to mirror the hip and then your game plan specific block there. All right, guys working their finish all over the place here, putting your body between him and the returner. It's what we want to see on this. All right, good clip of a different unit. All right, we're engaged, we're attacking, and now we're just getting our body in front of guys. All right, this next clip here, again, bad snap on their part, but right now, if I'm looking at this, all these guys have to be accounted for in the blocking scheme, and then boom, we're popping out of it. All right, bad snap. We have that aggressive mentality with our guys. Make something happen. Go get the ball inside the 5. So here's a good clip. You see guys working that engaged hip and rattle here, and then we're just cutting guys off, putting our body between the defender and the returner. We get a good kick, create some momentum. All right, defense already did a great job of securing field position for our offense, but our returner does an even better job of giving us some momentum here and putting the ball inside the 30 on a return. This clip here, we want to highlight. I mean, that's just unbelievable effort. Again, it goes back to the mentality of the unit. All right, we get this block on this play because 49 has an unbelievable get off, right? And he's working to the block spot, and he knows where it's going to be. Does a great job of making something happen and creating some momentum for our football team there, blocking the punt. Backed up now, again, switch to those 2-point stances. Create field position and momentum. Like to see him field the ball clean there, but now we got guys putting a body in front of theirs, and we're able to take it to the house for a touchdown. All right, see those 2-point stances, guys moving all around. This is a really good job. We actually went for the big block on this one, but we forced the kicker come up a little short. Now we got guys just cutting people off on the backside, and that's a great job by a returner, making something happen, completely flip the field, change the momentum of the game, and give us an opportunity to get points there. Really, really good job. This clip here, good job of, you see effort all over. I mean, really good job of getting bodies in front of people, and we're making something happen on the return. Okay, really, really good job. And this all starts with winning at the line of scrimmage and then making one guy miss. That returner's got to make that first guy miss, and we're getting after it, and we're getting some positive yards and some momentum there. All right, again, we kind of lose it with the tight, but you see guys getting their body in front and getting positive yards on the return. This right here, important coaching point. We see 36, all right, across the block spot there, coming from the side, working across it. We don't get this block because we have our hands up too high, but we interfere with it enough, all right, to force that fair catch. And you got to love this when you're working a guy, you're engaged down the bottom of the screen here, and you're depositing him on the sideline. It's a mentality. It goes back to the mentality of the unit, what we're looking for in our guys to be aggressive and engage. All right, see the attack. We're doing a good job here again of winning at the line of scrimmage. Number 2, we had him picking up late, game plan specific thing on the snapper, but we got him getting in front there, and we're giving him time to make this return. Get a positive return, make that first guy miss, and we're going to be in good shape. Again, guys with good finishes all across the board. We're working specific tech. We're working the 3 phases of it there. All right, we're winning at the line of scrimmage. You see the hip and rattle as we're going down the field. Guys working to get to that hip. And then the finish phase. Great job by 22 there, right? Great job by 2 coming down and working that to put their body in between the returner and the man to give us an opportunity to make a play here. Again, you see us working inside 44. I mean, great job on the effort there of working the technique that we need to. And you see a good shot of it here where he's engaged. He's winning at the line of scrimmage. Right, he's working that hip and rattle, okay, and then working on the finish at the end. And then block a punt here, right up the middle, and then you love the scoop and score, creating momentum for our football team. Really good job. Again, it's that attack mentality of I'm attacking and I'm winning. All right, I'm blocking this unless I'm not otherwise. Really good job. You see the other guys, that I think even if we didn't get this block, we're in really good position to return the football. But you got to love seeing these blue jerseys get to the end zone there. Guys, I just want to thank you for taking the time to watch this presentation. Like I said, I hope you really got something out of it. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. My number is 570-878-7643. Feel free, contact me, my cell phone, my email, my Twitter. Anything I can do to help. I really appreciate you taking the time, and I look forward to getting back to some football. So please reach out if you have any questions, and thank you again for tuning in today.